folks, it's been a wild week in Leafland. Some very difficult opponents, some interesting outcomes. We're going to break it all down for you right here on the OZone. You're in the offensive zone, your place for Leafs hockey. Hey folks, welcome to the OZone. That's Coach. That's Katie, and I'm the Depot. We're here to talk all things Leafs. Listen, remember, folks, subscribe, ring the bell. You'll never miss any content. Also, like, share the video with all your friends and family. Broadens the audience. Leave a comment. It helps us get better, and we get to them. We care. It matters. Okay, when we last spoke, the Leafs just had gotten back in the win column versus an injured Flyers team. And they were staring down a very, very difficult portion of their schedule. Boston, Carolina, Vegas. Leafs ended up getting 5 out of 6 points there. And I don't know, have they righted the ship? It was a shaky start. KD, what did you see and what do you think?
Well, really over the last 3 games, if we kind of put them all together, if you say the good, commitment and intensity is much better. We're seeing like puck retrievals up massively. We're seeing much better commitment in their own end, far less odd man rushes. So as far as a hockey team, that's the good. We'll talk about as far as the bad goes. We actually got 5 out of 6 points, or Leafs got 5 out of 6 points in that stretch. And I only saw one screen. Actually, they scored on it. Liljegren's third goal, or the third goal for the Leafs, Liljegren second. Other than that, we went 3 games without screening the goalie on any shot. So, I'd like to see definitely more traffic in front of the net, that commitment going hard to the net. And then if we want to talk about the ugly, 3 years in a row, the Leafs have had a losing record in overtime or shootouts. They're 1-3, 1-3 so far this year. This is a team that's supposed to be one of the best possession teams and most talented teams in the league. I think this strategy of just winging it and letting the stars be stars in overtime is not working. They gotta figure something out there.
Yeah, listen, good points. They are points at the end of the year when you add them all up, and it seems like they certainly leak out a lot when it comes to OT. Coach, what do you think?
Yeah, so I actually think, we've had some goalie problems, right? We've had some injuries and, took 7 out of the last 8 points after the sky was falling. So that's a pretty solid stretch of games. I think having the goalie injuries may have helped us, the club get back to kind of more of a lockdown effort. And what I mean by that is, Kev, you remember Beer League, Larry the goalie we had, and sometimes he might show up maybe a little more lubricated than others, and you can't hit him in warm-up. Like, you can't hit him. You can't stop anything. Well, then in that game, you don't want to give up any shots, right? Because it's going to get ugly. I think the Leafs played like that for the most part. Certainly the Philly game. I think the Boston game, they were real tight. The Carolina game, they were tight. And so that may have helped. Until the Vegas game. Now, it didn't give up a whole bunch of shots, but my goodness. Keefe was saying afterwards, Shelved, he was good. He stopped 4 of 5 breakaways.
Yeah.
I mean, guys are getting in clean looks, right? It's a grade A. So that's not terrific. But, they still had a chance to win that game. I think the D has improved immediately after Timothy Liljegren got back. Look, He's not great, guys. He did have a couple goals and a pretty egregious giveaway there against Vegas. But it knocks everybody down a peg, right? It allows TJ Brody to play with Justin Hall, and Justin Hall has been pretty good, other than the fact that he got blown by. You very rarely see an NHL defenseman get beat wide cleanly like he did in the second period against Vegas. But other than that, he's been pretty good. And so, I'll finish with OT. Yeah, I'd like to be better in OT, but it's a crapshoot, guys. Over the last 3 years, we're a game under 500 in OT, and we have a much better record not in OT, right? Because we're a better than 500 club, but it's a bit of a crapshoot. It's not like I think you're going to, develop a structure for it, other than defending the middle of the ice, which clearly didn't happen against Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, it's to Kevin's point. I think it's a bit of it's an enigma. This team actually looks like it on paper should be the best team in overtime, and they're mediocre really at best. And if it's a crapshoot and you've got the Stars logging all the minutes there, then something isn't working. I agree with you, Coach. Not happy about the goaltending situation. Injuries happen. What are you going to do? I agree. I was at the game last night with Vegas in town. It was unbelievable what Shelgren had to do in like the first 10 minutes of the game. Like it was just breakaway after breakaway after breakaway. It looked like it was it was practice or something. The Leafs were just turning pucks over at their own blue line, at the red line, at the other team's blue line. It's just brutal. But there's big question marks there, right? You know, Murray gets hurt without really establishing himself. Samsonov obviously has been fantastic when he's played. Him getting hurt scares me a little bit. You never know when a goalie comes back, how they're going to perform. Shelgren forced into action. I mean, you know, Woll is hurt too, right? So the depth in the organization is pretty thin. I guess it is what it is. Hopefully some of these injuries start to repair themselves and we start to kind of get a little bit more stable as we get closer to the holiday season. Your point, Coach, about Liljegren in the lineup and giving some flexibility. Listen, Hull and Brody looks as good a pairing as they've got. Hull has limitations. We know that. That's well documented, well litigated here on the pod. But overall, he's more than a serviceable guy. And I think when you pair him with someone steady, he's excellent. He was great in the years back when Muzzin was healthy and played like Muzzin. It looks like they might have a solid pairing there. I'm happy to see Liljegren being able to come in off an injury and be able to look like he has no rust on him at all. I mean, 2 goals last night. It's incredible. Okay. One other thing I'm going to throw up here. The offense. Still not putting up big numbers. I mean, let's face it. We were playing some tough opponents in the last few games, but they've scored 4 goals or more, twice? Maybe 3 times this entire season. Matthews and Marner hasn't really started going yet, guys. And I don't know what you need to do. Maybe you do. We saw it a few games ago. 88 and 34, 16 and 91. I mean, 91 got a hat trick. Throwing it up.
I thought that was pretty good, Mike. Against Carolina, he made that switch, and I thought it gave him a jump.
Give him a jump. It doesn't have to be forever, but sometimes you got to try something. Look, the team needs Matthews to start flying for sure. All right. Katie, what do you want to see from this team moving forward? I mean, we've got some decent production now, some points against some tough teams, but we've up and down season so far. What's got to start settling in for you to start feeling confident about this team?
Well, very, very briefly, we saw them flip the wingers a little bit. Matthews a couple one-timers, didn't get through or didn't get goals, but we saw pucks get through right to the net. That's a good start. Power play, trying to get 3 and 4 shots on the power play. But we'll get back to what I talked about before. They need to start getting the greasy goals. You get the greasy goals by standing in front of the net and screening the goalie, getting rebounds. They've won 3 games in a row without scoring a ton, actually playing pretty good hockey, but there's no they're not getting any rebounds. They're one and done almost all of the time. They're trying to score off the rush off great plays. They're a good team and they can do that. But you need to manufacture more scoring on top of that. You do that by getting the puck to the point, crash the net, get those rebounds, get those ugly goals. Those are the goals that get scored in the playoffs, right? And I think because of that, I think we need to bring back the DKI award, the door kicking award, and so we'll be bringing that back with the hope that the team is going to start doing that. We saw it a couple of years ago when that documentary was going on, and Keith talked about, listen, we're not getting enough rebounds, we're not getting to the front of the net enough. They need to really start to do this because we know come playoff time, that's how you end up generating the goals. So let's work on the door kick-ins. Remember, not every door can be opened with a key. You got to kick some of them in. So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's great. It'd be nice to get that segment back Kevin. And let's be honest, they really haven't generated a lot of tough goals in front. Coach, how about you?
Is that Confucius? Is that? All right. I got a few little things I'd like to see. So I'd like to see if Jordy Ben can play. He got activated. He's back. Keith talked today. He's going to get him in at some point. Doesn't know exactly when. But fellas, Gio has been really good for us. I worry about him, making it through 82. He's not going to want to come out, but I wouldn't mind spelling him every once in a while. Yeah. I actually think Justin Hall could use some rest too. So if you could get a little rotation there with Jordy Ben and give those guys a break. Jordy Ben, he's not great, but he's better than Victor Mete. And he does bring an element that we don't have on the D core now. Like if people like Roman Polak, you're going to love Jordy Ben. Doesn't skate real well, but he defends well. He knows where to stand, right? Yeah. I'd like to see Nick Robertson do something quickly. Like, he's got 5 points in 8 games. He's been okay. His last 5 games, he's got 2 assists. But, it was about he was knocking on the door and he was sort of a cap casualty to start the year. And then he comes up, he's on fire to start. He needs to establish himself. I mean, there's going to come a time pretty soon here where the roster is going to start getting tight again. Yeah. I'm rooting for the guy. I'd like to see him establish himself. I think he's got the talent to play in the top 6. We need that. And he needs to establish it. I'd like to see Matt Murray get healthy. It looks like by all signs are pointing to him playing Saturday night versus Vancouver. So I'd like to see him get on a healthy run. I don't think there's any chance in hell he earns anywhere near what his cap hit is going to be. But if he could give us something, that would be good. And then I'd like to see some finality with the Muzzin situation. I know we're going to talk about that in a separate one, but it's just difficult that it's dangling out there. For the guy himself, I hope he's healthy and all that. But for the roster, there's 5.7 that you could repurpose if he's not going to be able to come back, or you could sort of start planning for it if he is. So I'd like to see maybe not some finality, but a little more clarity in that. So those are some things I'd like to see. But before I go here, hey, I last pod I was out. I showed some pictures of that Mullet Arena on ASU's campus where the Coyotes are playing. I forgot to mention one thing. I bumped into this guy. So here's a picture. These are the Dallas Stars TV guys, Josh Bogorad, but what I want to focus on was Daryl Ray. He goes by Razor. Played in the NHL as a goalie. He is unbelievable. He's Ray Ferraro good as a color guy, and I think our Toronto viewers may not get much of him like we do down here with Stars games. He's terrific. If you could ever find a way, I don't know how you guys get your out-of-market games. I know all the Leafs are on TV every game, right? But if you could ever find a way to watch him call a game, he's fantastic. Really great. So, he gave me a little wink there, and I took a picture. But that's another aspect of that arena, right? Everything is so tight. You walk right past the guy who's like 6 feet from him. So, Anyway, there you go. Razor, keep up the good work, buddy.
Well, there you have it, folks. Listen, a pretty good run by the Leafs. We've got some predictions coming up and some other pods. You got to tune in. You got to hit subscribe because we got content coming. Lots of content. We're going to bring it for you right here on the OZone.